History will not be kind to Donald Trump. I think we all know that. Not because it will be written by never-Trumpers, but because whenever we have departed from the values of our nation, we have come to regret it. And that regret is written all over the pages of our history. If you find that the House has proved its case and still vote to acquit, your name will be tied to his with a cord of steel and for all of history. But if you find the courage to stand up to him, to speak the awful truth to his rank falsehood, your place will be among the Davids who took on Goliath. If only you will say enough. Every single vote, even a single vote by a single member, can change the course of history. It is said that a single man or woman of courage makes a majority. Is there one among you who will say enough? America believes in a thing called truth. She does not believe we are entitled to our own alternate facts. She recoils at those who spread pernicious falsehoods. To her, truth matters. There is nothing more corrosive to a democracy than the idea that there is no truth. America also believes there is a difference between right and wrong, and right matters here. But there is more. Truth matters, right matters, but so does decency. Decency matters. When the president smears a patriotic public servant like Marie Yovanovitch in pursuit of a corrupt aim, we recoil. When the president mocks the disabled, a war hero who is a prisoner of war, or a Gold Star father, we are appalled. Because decency matters here. And when the president tries to coerce an ally to help him cheat in our elections and then covers it up, we must say enough. Enough. He has betrayed our national security, and he will do so again. He has compromised our elections, and he will do so again. You will not change him. You cannot constrain him. He is who he is. Truth matters little to him. What's right matters even less, and decency matters not at all. I do not ask you to convict him because truth or right or decency matters nothing to him, but because we have proven our case and it matters to you. Truth matters to you. Right matters to you. You are decent. He is not who you are. It may be midnight in Washington, but the sun will rise again. I put my faith in the optimism of the founders. You should too. They gave us the tools to do the job, a remedy as powerful as the evil it was meant to constrain, impeachment. They meant it to be used rarely, but they put it in the Constitution for a reason. For a man who would sell out his country for a political favor, for a man who would threaten the integrity of our elections, for a man who would invite foreign interference in our affairs, for a man who would undermine our national security and that of our allies, for a man like Donald J. Trump. They gave you a remedy, and they meant for you to use it. They gave you an oath, and they meant for you to observe it. We have proven Donald Trump guilty. Now do impartial justice and convict him.
The extent to which Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee and the lead impeachment manager during the Senate trial, has risen to this occasion cannot be overstated. Day after day, Schiff has made a case predicated on facts and the truth, on the Constitution and the will of the founders, on integrity and the rule of law. He has debunked a slew of bad faith excuses put forth by White House lawyers, whose defenses were as lazy and egregious as the crimes committed by the man they were representing. A man unwilling at any point to even appear under oath because, as the entire political spectrum is aware, he'd be lucky to last more than a few seconds before perjuring himself. With Adam Schiff speaking on behalf of the party, the contrast between him and Donald Trump, between Democrats and Republicans, could not be more apparent. He deftly uses his final speech to appeal to those so-called moderate Republicans who've already admitted that Trump did something wrong, but are leaning on the idea that he still shouldn't be removed for it. He says that if they found that the House had proved their case and they still vote to acquit, that their legacy will be tied to Trump's forever. Because let's just be brutally honest here, Trump is already the least popular president in modern American history. His crimes are already well known and only becoming more notorious as information continues to leak out. And while he's launched a pretty effective intimidation campaign to keep his caucus in line, history won't be written on behalf of the 35% of Americans that comprise Donald Trump's base. It won't be written on behalf of the shameless sycophants who defend his every move and parrot his juvenile nicknames and cheer on his most vile policies targeting the poor and immigrants and trans Americans. It'll be written based on the truth. And yes, it will remember full well what kind of a president Donald Trump is, but beyond that, it'll remember those who enabled him and encouraged his behavior through a complete refusal to perform any oversight whatsoever. Because, you know, he might tweet something mean. Schiff goes on to request just one Republican willing to be a leader in his or her party. And the brilliance of this strategy is that either a Republican will come forward, which would be a feat in and of itself, or if one doesn't, then it'll just serve as a testament to the fact that there are no leaders in the Republican Party. There are only foot soldiers for Donald Trump. That's it. Just blindly deferential mouthpieces who allow even the most obvious of crimes to take place under their watch, while they not only said nothing, but actually cast their votes in support of this behavior. Because rest assured, those who vote to acquit this president for what he's done are giving their approval of extorting foreign countries for dirt on a political opponent, for using American taxpayer dollars as a bribe, for orchestrating a large-scale cover-up involving nearly every single cabinet member in the administration, for obstructing Congress and lying to the American people. A vote to acquit is not just a refusal to hold Trump accountable, it is actively saying that this behavior is perfectly acceptable. But finally, and most importantly, Adam Schiff reminds his colleagues that impeachment was put in the Constitution for a reason. Because while the White House lawyers may breathlessly claim that voting to convict this president is somehow akin to overturning an election, it's not. Impeachment is in the Constitution for the very reason that if a president commits an impeachable offense, of which abuse of power and obstruction of Congress are, then there is a mechanism to hold him accountable. It doesn't undo an election, it is a consequence for illegal activity for someone who has been elected. To say otherwise, that any time a president has to be held accountable for wrongdoing is simply undoing an election, is implying that there's no mechanism for accountability and that a president is simply above the law. And I know that the Trump administration and the rest of his party might want to will this into existence, but that's not how it works in the United States. The point here isn't that we're going to get 2/3 of the Senate to convict Trump. We're probably not. The point here is to put on full display the extent to which the GOP has chosen to sell out themselves, their oaths of office, their values, and their commitment to the rule of law, all for Donald Trump. It's to make sure that they know that when they cast their votes, they will be on record for the rest of American history voting to defend a criminal because he's got an R next to his name. But most importantly, Adam Schiff is giving them an out. A reminder that this isn't just about towing the party line or being on the receiving end of a mean tweet, it's about the kind of country we're gonna live in moving forward and whether the Constitution is worth defending over some petty political victory. Because it is, we're just waiting for one single Republican to say so.